Welcome to Sad Music Monday. I'm your host, Keitaro Harada. This episode is made possible by Charles C. Taylor and Samir Nikochevich Charitable Foundation.
Well, I'm Michael Daly. I play principal horn here with the Savannah Philharmonic. And I've been doing since the inception of the orchestra for the full 10 years that it's been around.
Fantastic. And are you originally from Savannah or somewhere else?
No, I'm originally from New Jersey. And I went out to the Midwest to get my my undergrad and master's in music. And then coming to Savannah was the first job I ever had with the old funk Savannah Symphony back in 1991 when I was 25.
Fantastic. Tell me why you chose the French horn.
I started out on trumpet in a band, I think it was 6th grade, and I liked it okay. And then one day I was at a music store and I saw a French horn on the wall, curled up circular instrument, and I was like, what is that? And then when I went back to the band the next day, I asked the band teacher, what is a French horn? And he said, well, we have one right here. Why don't you play it? And so I actually was the first French horn in band in 6th grade, just me. And then other people started playing it.
You know, the French horn to me is one of the most difficult orchestra instrument. Of course, technically difficult in many ways, but you're one of the most exposed brass instrument. And you know, I hate to say this, but when the French horn doesn't play correctly, it's very audible. But at the same time, when the French horn plays beautifully, it's also very recognized. You know, you are the prima donna of the orchestra, I think.
Yeah. It's it's all about the sound. That's what the French horn has going for it. There's something about it. It can be very noble. It can be very crass, and it can play incredibly soft. I mean, it's supposed to blend with woodwinds. Definitely because the bell points backwards, that really helps.
Tell me a little bit more about the process of being a principal French horn player in an orchestra, and then a little bit more also, if you could touch base on the fact that your bell is facing backwards, and then how you have to anticipate producing sound to go forward even though you're playing backwards.
Yeah, well, I actually have the French horn right here, and whenever I do these school educational concerts and I talk to younger kids I ask them, like, why do you think the French horn is shaped like this, so different from any other brass instrument? And no one can actually guess. And the reason is because before there was this valve section, it was open here and you could put your arm through it so you could wear it basically while riding a horse. So it was basically, it's an outdoor signaling instrument. And in fact, I believe, like, when you're on a horse, you're just signaling to people behind you. I mean, I think that's what it's about. And when it moved into the orchestra, Bach was the first to bring French horns into the orchestra. And he just wanted that particular hunting horn sound. The fact that the bell points backwards, I think you have to anticipate entrances to make sure you're not behind, and you might even have to play a little bit louder. In fact, I go by the adage of play as loud as you want until the conductor tells you not to. And that's one of my philosophies. But of course, I'm always trying to blend also with the woodwinds around me.
Well, you're wearing so many hats. You have to play with woodwind quintet, but also you have to play with the brass. It's the brass ensemble. So
it's a bit tougher to get that brilliant edge that a trumpet can get on the French horn. I can still do it, but you have to play. Volume has a lot to do with that, but also, and I think the fact that the bell is pointed backwards makes it so much easier to blend with the woodwind quintet, and you can control the volume too with your hand in the bell, which is how we hold it. So that's another way we can control volume.
What does it feel like to be playing principal French horn in an orchestra?
It's exhilarating, and many times it's moments of sheer terror when you've got a very exposed solo. I've been doing this for quite a while, and I think over the years that kind of edge has been dulled a bit in terms of like how scary it can be, because there are a lot of exposed solos written for French horn. But then there's so much good stuff also written. In terms of the literature out there for brass instruments, there's just nothing that can compare to the amount of good literature written for the French horn. It's just, there's so much.
Oh, it's one of the oldest instruments, so naturally you have a lot of music written for it.
Yeah. I think its ability to play a melodic tune, or just, I would say, the Romantic composers who started using it a lot, like Wagner and Strauss, especially Strauss, Mahler, they wrote some incredible melodies that are just they're just wonderful.
Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I'm very happy about since I've come to Savannah Philharmonic was you're actually my first hire, and you are hired as our personal manager of the Philharmonic. Would you share a little bit about what you do as that role?
Well, I basically just coordinate rehearsal schedules with the musicians and make sure they're there. I feel that since I've been here for quite a while, I know most of the musicians very well. I mean, all of these freelance musicians from Atlanta and other cities around the area, I know them and play with them in other orchestras, and now I get to do that here and tell them what to do sometimes. That feels good.
Of course. And then you are the channel of communication between me and the musicians, and then we have the musicians community, but everyone is looking at you and for guidance when it comes to communicating thoughts and comments from the musicians. So I'm really, really thankful that you have decided to come on board on this team.
Yeah, I'm happy to. It's you are a very accessible conductor and music director.
I am very cordial, and I'm very personable, I think, but also there has to be sort of a line between the musicians and the music director, just because you don't want to get into a situation where people think there's favoritism or people see me with a particular musician more than anyone else. With you being the personal manager, it's natural for me to spend time with the personal manager because most of the communication happens between you and me. And then that gets, you're helping me in incredible amount of ways.
Well, I could see it could be overwhelming having so many musicians just go straight to you for problems, and then also have requests of you that, actually you shouldn't have to, you shouldn't be bothered with that. Right. There's definitely a hierarchy in terms of the chain of command, and you are at the top. I mean, that's the way I consider it in terms of being a musician. The conductor always to me is kind of like the general of the orchestra, but a benevolent general who shows us, what to do.
For sure. Any particular concert that you're looking forward to next season?
Yeah, I would say I'm most excited about the Wagner selections from Der Ring opera. Yeah, I mean, because there are incredible brass parts, and if we do the section Dawn and Siegfried's Rhine Journey, there's probably the most famous French horn lick in there, the Siegfried horn call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a French horn player, that concert is, you know, a total dream come true. It's impossible to do the entire ring cycle, but just to do excerpts of it and to be able to play those super awesome French horn moments.
Yeah, yeah.
Wonderful. Tell me why you enjoy playing with the Savannah Philharmonic.
It's my hometown orchestra. It's just I've been here for quite a while, like I said, and I just know these people, and I love my fellow musicians, and especially when I make music with them. And knowing that I won't be able to do that for the next couple months is tough. Really look forward to coming back at the start of next season and starting it up again, because yeah, my soul definitely needs it.
Do you have any questions for me?
What? Actually, I don't know what your instrument is.
I'm a saxophonist.
Oh, okay.
And I started off as a saxophonist, and my goal in life was to become a Broadway musical pit musician. So I'm a doubler. I play all winds. I also play horn, and I play some viola. And I wanted to be one of those people in Broadway, New York, London, Chicago, you know, playing 7 different instruments around me and tour around the world playing musicals. I love musical. That was the introduction to music for me. West Side Story, Oklahoma, Sound of Music, and that's what I wanted to do. I first really wanted to be on stage and dance and sing, but I'm a horrible dancer and a horrible singer, so I thought being in the pit would be a much better dream come true.
No, you know what's funny is, like, my upbringing and my childhood was all, and the first music I ever heard was all Broadway musicals too. And I was lucky enough to tour with Les Miserables for three years in the pit. So I totally get where you're coming from with that. And I remember looking up at the stage and seeing how much fun the actors had.
So my final question to you, is there anyone that you would like to give a shout out to?
My teacher from Wichita State University, where I got my master's, Nicholas Smith, who's retired, and he did visit me last season and he saw a concert. I would just say that it was great to have him visit and to hear me play with my orchestra, and hopefully that'll happen again soon.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, Mike, thank you so much for your time to do this interview, and I can't wait to keep continuing to work with you throughout the summer and then once the season starts.
Okay.
Thank you for watching the interview. Please enjoy Mussorgsky's Pictures at an Exhibition, performed by your Savannah Philharmonic.
Mhm.